Hey everybody, it's Shaman Sister Sin, and you're listening to the Meditations and More podcast brought to you by littleshaman.org. That's me, the Little Shaman. Today I wanted to talk to you about the secret narcissist. You might also hear them called covert or vulnerable narcissists. This is the narcissist that you don't see coming. Far from seeming arrogant or overconfident, this narcissist seems insecure and weak. They seem hurt. They can be clingy and seem very fragile. They portray themselves as helpless victims and control through guilt and neediness. More people may actually fall victim to this type of narcissist because they don't seem like the popular examples of narcissists that society believes in. Because of that, I believe they are more dangerous. People don't recognize them for what they are, and they're often able to do a lot more damage because of that. Now, despite what you may have heard, covert narcissists do not come across as unfeeling, devious psychopaths trying to hide the abuse they're inflicting. On the contrary, they come across as almost exactly the opposite of that. That doesn't mean they can't be devious, of course. Some definitely are. But they usually don't come across that way. That's one reason they are so hard to see. For example, let's say you have a friend who's very sensitive. Their feelings get hurt very easily. They take offense often and they feel attacked by many things most other people probably wouldn't feel attacked by. They seem paralyzed by their insecurities and they're very fragile and weak and they need a lot of your time, otherwise their feelings are hurt. They may often be suicidal and it seems like they have a lot of bad things happen to them. Nothing ever seems to go right for this person, and they're constantly being victimized by people. You, of course, feel very sorry for this person, and you do everything you can to try and help them pull themselves back together. Only, it never seems to be quite enough. After a while, you start to realize that your relationship's been pretty one-sided. All it's ever about is you taking care of them and helping them through the many crises in their life. You start to see that every time the conversation veers away from them, they either bring it back to themselves immediately or they become hurt and might start sulking. You notice that when you need them, they're never there for you. If you do attempt to get support from them, you're either ignored or they become angry and hurt that you dared to think your problems are important when they have so many horrible things happening to them. Every conversation ends up being about them and their feelings and their problems. They're not interested in you at all. You start to realize this person exaggerates things and makes up problems to have something to be angry or upset about. You might feel drained after dealing with this person and you feel that they resent you for being happy when they're not. They make unreasonable demands of your time. They take you for granted, often insulting and disregarding you when they don't need you. They can be shockingly insensitive, and every time something doesn't go their way, there's another breakdown. Over time, you see that what you thought was insecurity is actually selfishness. It isn't that they need so much support because they're insecure and incompetent. It's that if they don't matter more than anything to everybody, they become unhappy and resentful. You notice that this person can be absolutely vicious and heartless to people who don't do what they want. You finally notice how narcissistic and self-centered this person really is. And when you try to disengage from what you finally have realized is a toxic relationship, this person shows their true face, attacking and devaluing you, accusing you of victimizing them and of never caring. Everything you have done for this person suddenly doesn't matter. This is the covert narcissist. The word covert means hidden. That is what they are. They are hidden. They don't seem aggressive and selfish and vicious at first. They don't come across as vain and confident. They come across as weak and needy. Make no mistake, they are every bit as controlling, manipulative, and abusive as overt narcissists. They just go about it in different ways. This is likely due to differences in each person's individual personality, as well as whatever behaviors they've learned work for them. Narcissists, and most people in general, take the path of least resistance. An overt narcissist may have learned that they can get their needs met most quickly by being a bully or by being charming and a smooth talker, which probably also came naturally to them because of their personality. A covert may have learned that they can get their needs most quickly served by coming across as pitiful or weak or as a victim, again, which was probably more suited to their personality anyway. Both are trying to serve the same basic needs. Both use manipulation, hoovering, smear campaigns, gaslighting, and all manner of other tactics to manipulate and abuse others. Both are argumentative and hostile and paranoid. Both are utterly selfish and care nothing for anyone but themselves. The only real difference between covert narcissists and classic or overt narcissists is the way their needs manifest themselves in terms of some of their behaviors. To put it simply, overt narcissists seem arrogant and confident. Covert narcissists seem insecure and needy. Everything else is the same. This is why they're so dangerous. Covert narcissists often don't come across as narcissists at all, at first. It may take some time before you realize that's what you're dealing with, especially because many people believe narcissists have no feelings at all, and covert narcissists show many feelings. After you get to know them for a while, you realize those feelings are all for themselves. Once you see through it, it all falls into place and you realize how totally selfish this person really is. Every time they don't like something or they can't have something, there's a breakdown. Every time they're upset, everyone has to drop what they're doing and tend to this person because their feelings have to be more important than anything else. They're no different than the classic or overt narcissist in this way. But whereas the overt narcissist might seem to be affected by nothing, the covert is affected, offended, and hurt by everything. They use constantly hurt feelings as a weapon against other people, making it impossible for others to ever say or do anything right. They control through guilt and neediness. Where are you going? What are you doing? Drop what you're doing. I need you. And if you don't give them the attention they want or you can't be there for them, there's another breakdown. Maybe there's a big argument or an explosion. Maybe there will be some suicidal threats. Their entire life is just one tragedy after another. Nobody has ever loved them. No one's ever been there for them. Everyone leaves them. They're often hostile and paranoid, as we said, and many times they have totally unrealistic ideas about their own importance or things they're going to do. Unlike many overt narcissists, though, they lack the necessary drive to actually do any of these things, and they're often really, really bitter about that. Conversations with these people may swing between talking about all their unrealistic goals and a litany of complaints about how everyone's dragging them down. They are professional victims, and they're unable to relate to people in any other way. As with many other narcissists, either you're saving them or you're victimizing them. There is no in-between, and certainly no room for you to be a human being with your own feelings and your own needs. The key to recognizing covert narcissists is the same as recognizing classic or overt narcissists. Does this person seem able to care about other people or not? Don't listen to what they say, watch what they do. Narcissists in general may talk a good game, but if you watch their behavior, it does not match what they're saying. They are unable to put their feelings aside, and they are unable to focus on anything else. Even when it seems like they're talking about you, they're not. Narcissists of any kind don't bother to relate to other people, and they generally can't focus on anything other than themselves and their own feelings. I remember an argument I was privy to once between a covert narcissist and their spouse. The spouse was attempting to discuss a problem with the narcissist rationally, and the narcissist was trying to claim that the spouse hated them, which had really no bearing on anything. The spouse asked the narcissist, "Can we ever talk about the actual problem that I'm having? Can you, for once, stop talking about your feelings?" The narcissist said, "I am talking about you." The spouse said, "No, you're talking about your own feelings and how you believe that I hate you." The narcissist replied, "Right, you." Covert narcissists, like all narcissists, twist everything to be about them. They will sidetrack and derail the conversation at every turn until it's turned back to them. This is because that's the only thing that matters to them. If you ain't talking about them, you ain't talking about nothing. They are not listening. Covert narcissists can be very tricky to identify, especially when people have misconceptions about what narcissists actually are and how they behave. As a case in point, I did a series of videos a few months ago with a guy that we called Joe. Joe is a covert narcissist. He has been diagnosed with MPD by 3 different doctors, and I myself have known both Joe and his family for over 10 years. He is most definitely a narcissist, and one who has done some really terrible things, actually. Some of the things he's done to his family would probably shock people if they knew. The point was not to shame him, though, so that was not mentioned. But there are still so many people who can't see it. That interview was split into 2 sections, one called childhood and one called relationships, and he talked about his childhood and his relationships. There are so many comments on the childhood portion of that interview that say that they don't think Joe is a narcissist, even though he's been diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder by multiple doctors, and even though he clearly identified himself as one. I suppose in the end, that's a testament to just how manipulative and covert these personalities really are. When someone can tell people point blank that they're a narcissist, but is so convincing as a victim that they don't believe it. I hope this clears a few things up for you. As always, I look forward to your comments, questions, and suggestions, so please keep those coming. You've been listening to the Meditations and More podcast brought to you by littleshaman.org. That's me, Little Shaman. May the Great Spirit bless you and have a wonderful day.